Doctor Strange knows that the key to a good sorcerer is a fancy wizard wardrobe.
Wizards now.
It's like 75% of what makes Strange so intimidating. And today I wanted to highlight the Sorcerer Supreme of style by discussing Doctor Strange's best costumes, both in the MCU and in the comics. Did the MCU costumes translate well into live action? Will we ever see the comic costumes on the big screen? There's a lot to discuss, so let's get started right now. If you could construct basically a suit of armor to go out and do all your tasks for you and look cool while doing it, would you?
I've come to bargain.
I mean, who wouldn't? And hey, being a superhero is hard work. You know how many teams there are nowadays to join? It's a lot. So that's why I don't blame Doctor Strange for constructing the magical being known as Paradox to fight on the Midnight Suns team, and his costume is kinda wild. I'm told Paradox is a being made of etheric energy, and if you don't know what that is, a handy-dandy Google search tells me that it has to do with the esoteric philosophies, and it's the first or lowest layer in the human energy field. That clears things up. Anyways, forget all that and focus on how Paradox kinda looks like Marvel's version of the superhero Spawn. And because Doctor Strange constructed Paradox, then I have to believe that secretly Doctor Strange wants to look like this all the time.
Maybe.
I think the coolest part is the all-black cape that's shaped like Strange's Cloak of Levitation, only with a darker, more sinister color scheme to it. Does this count as a costume? Totally, but it's such a weird example that I wanted to talk about it first. It's hard to beat the classics. There's a reason why the costume everyone associates Strange with is best.
Hello.
It's just this bright hodgepodge of wizardry that makes a big statement whenever he walks into a room. Obviously, the cornerstone is his cape, and the real standout feature is how the cape usually sticks up higher than his head. It has these sharp edges, and when he walks into a room, obviously the first thing you notice is the cape. That's a bold fashion choice right there. The rest of the classic costume is a mix of blue and yellow, and I think what's really neat is how this bright costume totally fits with the tone and style of Doctor Strange comics. The Sorcerer Supreme's usual adventures are trippy, magical color explosions that threaten to overwhelm the senses, and I like how the costume sort of reflects that. And the comics really highlight the light blue symbol on his chest, and after some digging, I've seen some people say the symbol represents either the Vishanti, a magical artifact, or is just a crude drawing of Strange himself, which I think is kind of hilarious and totally fits with his personality. The live-action adaptation for Strange's costume, I think, translated pretty well from the comics. It's more muted in its color scheme, but they couldn't go too crazy right away. Plus, it's a real rushed costume. Like, he's just wearing his normal robes throughout the movie and then just happens to stumble upon the Cloak of Levitation. But really, there's one thing and one thing only that I want to discuss regarding Strange's movie costume: his bright yellow gloves. It's actually kind of funny that we see Doctor Strange wearing the yellow gloves in his scene in Thor Ragnarok, and then he just never wears them again. I appreciate that they tried to incorporate such an important piece of comic book costume into live action, but this was an example of them making the right call and realizing they don't quite translate well. They look like dishwashing gloves.
Nope.
Plus, when he isn't wearing the gloves, you can see the scars on his hands from his accident, as well as the trembling of his hands when he casts spells, which is a fantastic little character detail. So I'm actually giving props to the movie costume for taking something away from the classic comic costume, but what do you think? Should he have the gloves in live action to complete the look?
What?
After an incident that caused Stephen Strange to lose most of his abilities and stripped him of the Sorcerer Supreme title, he had to find something else to wear. This resulted in a more John Constantine-esque look that consisted of a brown trench coat and black turtleneck. He looks less like a sorcerer and more like someone who's trying to sell you a timeshare somewhere. And although this look is relatively plain, it's cool to see him light up like he's auditioning for Tron or something when blue energy flows through him. This is the type of costume you can wear casually out in the open without turning a lot of heads. I know this is the case with every superhero, but seeing him in this outfit just reminds me of how important the costume is for a hero. Like, if you showed me just a picture of Strange in this outfit, I'd probably have trouble identifying what hero he is.
I suspect we can do a little better than that.
Okay, picture this scenario. After the events of No Way Home, Doctor Strange is so embarrassed that everyone found out about his dyed goatee that he decides to start wearing a full-on blue bodysuit, complete with an all-blue mask in order to shield his face from the world.
Don't call me sir.
During one sort of memorable arc, after some mystic shenanigans of being trapped in a different dimension, a villain started using Doctor Strange's identity. To combat this, Doctor Strange decided that he should wear a mask to protect his identity, which, yeah, is great and all, but his name was still Doctor Strange. Like, he was still using his real name. Not a great plan. But it did give us an arc of Doctor Strange looking like a more traditional superhero for a bit. The out-of-world explanation was that this was an attempt to give Strange a more superhero-y look to help boost lagging comic sales, but that didn't help much. It would have been easy for the MCU to keep Doctor Strange's normal costume in the What If episode that centered around the Doctor turning evil and breaking his universe in order to save Christine. But then how would they be able to sell toys?
But you will see.
When this darker version of Strange, who is officially named Sorcerers Supreme, starts to accumulate more and more power thanks to his dabbling with the dark arts, his costume ends up changing too. It loses the traditional red, blue, and yellow look and morphs into something with more purple, dark red, and orange. Sure, it's not the biggest difference in the world, but it does represent a fancy upgrade. He certainly gives us a more supreme look, and I do like how the suit morphs into something sinister as we watch the dark magic slowly take over. And the key feature, which is his cape, gets a makeover as well.
Nice cape.
What if a Venom symbiote bonded with Doctor Strange? Well, I have the answer to that. In the comic series Venomverse, Venom is suddenly summoned to a different universe by that version of Doctor Strange who had bonded with his own version of the symbiote, and it creates a perfect blend of Venom abilities and Doctor Strange abilities. The main question would be, whose color scheme would win out here, because we know Strange loves bright colors, while Venom is the traditional white and black. Surprisingly, Venom wins out, but even though the suit lacks any bright colors, it's still a cool design that somehow manages to turn the cape into something even more extravagant. I mean, look at those points. Okay, this one will be a quick entry that I have to mention. I thought Doctor Strange's casual look in No Way Home was hilarious. He was just chilling in a winter coat with his Columbia University sweater and his little fox mug, but of course still wore the cape everywhere. This gave off a real casual Friday-esque look, but it seemed like Strange was only using the cape to avoid having to walk at all. Like, he just glided in with his coffee cup without a care in the world.
We've used it for a lot less.
I wish Doctor Strange showed up to battles wearing this more. I mean, does he really need anything else besides his cape? The Eye of Agamotto is basically just a paperweight now, right? If I was him, I'd ditch all those uncomfortable looking robes and just wear hoodies and sweatpants paired with the cape for every bad guy encounter. The Doctor Strange of Earth 1298 looks completely different from other versions of Doctor Strange, and that's due to a pesky curse. While trying to help someone out of the Man-Thing curse, this version of Strange got himself infected as well. It turned his head into that of the swampy monster and kept his body the same, which means he's a little self-conscious about going out to the grocery store or something like that. He wears a hood at all times to cover up, and you would be forgiven if you didn't recognize this as a Strange costume. It's all red with a gold trim, and the hood covers everything except his dark red eyes. Honestly, this one is kind of scary. Like, if you encountered this version of Strange in an alley somewhere, I'm sure it would be 10 times more frightening than his usual garb. In 2018, Doctor Strange realized that although he is a primary magic user and has plenty of spells to protect him, he should probably have better armor. This modern armor suit is both honoring the original flair of the Doctor Strange outfit while also introducing a tactical soldier element to it. He looks more like a warrior than a magician in this design, and I'm certainly not mad at it. I wonder if armor like this would have helped ease the pain when he was confronting Dormammu 1,000 times. Probably not.
I've come to bargain.
What if the magical powers of Doctor Strange were combined with the technical prowess of Tony Stark? Well, then you get the armored Sorcerer Supreme. In a different universe, a version of Tony Stark becomes the Sorcerer Supreme, and the suit is a perfect blend of magic and tech. I love this combination because it feels like the best of both worlds. This version of Tony is able to have the cape and the mystical artifacts and all that, but also can invent handy-dandy gadgets and weapons in order to help him out. It's actually really cool. He has his own advanced visor that allows him to see oncoming threats, analyzes the situation, and then informs him of what counterspell to cast in the situation. See, best of both worlds. Obviously, different comic writers and artists draw Stephen Strange differently, and it's created a wide variety of Doctor Strange looks. In the comic series, Doctor Strange and the Sorcerers Supreme, Strange has adopted a more sleek, medieval type of look. His suit is mostly all black with a white and blue trim. He looks like a Game of Thrones fighter rather than a Sorcerer Supreme, but that's mainly because this occurs in a storyline where most of the magic from the Earth had been eradicated, so Strange wasn't at full capacity. And you know how you compensate when you can't use magic to the best of your abilities? That's right, a giant freaking axe! Strange has been known to use battle axes from time to time in the comics, and this suit highlights that particular weapon rather well. A sorcerer with a huge axe is probably a very dangerous combination, don't you think? Who do you guys think rocks the best cape in the MCU? I just think it's hard to beat Doctor Strange, but I guess early Thor and Vision are options as well. Wanda sorta has one. Valkyrie had a little one during Ragnarok. Okay, this is harder to choose than I thought. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching CBR. See you next time.